while ago, I saw something and I wanted to buy it because it looked really interesting and I really had hopes that I would like it. This is the Lofree Touch, which, as you can see, is a really cool looking mouse with an interesting aesthetic to it. Now, I bought this to go alongside this keyboard, which I've yet to unbox, as you can see, from 8-Bit Dough, which has a really cool design to it and also has, if you look on the underside, this funky little button thing that you can run alongside. And it's got a retro sort of styling to it. Looks really neat. And I thought the combination of these two would go really well together because, as you can see, the Lofree Touch has a pretty retro style to it and is unusual in its design. And that was one of the appeals about it. It kind of looks like those beige keyboards of old, but also has some other things that you don't usually see. Obviously, we've got triple connectivity mode, Bluetooth, wireless, and wired modes. But you also got a little thumb rest on the left-hand side and thumb buttons there, as well as a button on top, and some other highlights. The keycaps are removable, which is pretty unusual for a start. And as you'll see underneath, you've got key switches that look very similar to the key switches you'd see on your average gaming keyboard. The fact that the keycaps are removable is interesting because it means that you can actually upgrade or change the design of the mouse by purchasing additional sets from Lofree, obviously at an extra cost, which is pretty different to what you'd see elsewhere. The switches are also satisfying, although you won't be hot swapping those out like you can with modern gaming keyboards, unfortunately, but it is pretty unique in that way. You'll also see a pretty smooth mouse wheel, and I'll give you a sound test of what the switches sound like at the end. On the underside, there's a little dock for putting the USB dongle in. Obviously, this gives you the 2.4 gigahertz wireless connectivity and the ability to easily connect to your PC. You'll also see there's a button under there for changing mode and one on top for switching between the preset DPI levels from 800 to 4000. And the modes allow you to have two Bluetooth modes, so you actually can pair it with two different devices. So you can switch from that on the underside pretty easily from wireless to Bluetooth and wired mode. I like all these things, but what I don't like is what it's like for gaming, unfortunately. I think for productivity and sort of general web browsing, it would probably be okay. But for gaming, it didn't work well for me. I've tested a lot of gaming mice in the past. This isn't really pitched as a gaming mouse. I wasn't surprised I didn't get on with it. The issue for me, unfortunately, is that it's just too small. It's too small for my hand, as I'll show you in a second. Now, it wasn't terrible, but what I found was, with a few different gaming sessions, I just wasn't doing as well as I would normally, not that I'm a pro gamer, and that I was just struggling with the fit of it, which is a shame. I really hoped that I would like it. I really like having a thumb rest, for example, having somewhere to put your thumb when you're playing, and also easy access to the side buttons and the ability to switch DPI levels on the fly. There's a number of things to it that make it interesting. And there are some downsides as well that gamers might not approve of. For example, it's 105 grams, so it's pretty heavy compared with other gaming mice. The highlights to it, though, is the battery does last for ages. There's no RGB effects or anything on it, apart from that little display, where you can obviously see those different things that you need to. But the lack of RGB means that it can last up to 4 weeks. At least that's the claim. I definitely found it lasted quite some time during my sessions and testing. I used it for video editing and for web browsing and things like that and got on just fine with it, but for gaming it's just too small. So I prefer a palm grip normally, but this feels like you'd have to have a claw grip, aggressive claw grip at all times, or very, very small hands. I don't think I've got particularly large hands, but I definitely found that this was probably one of the smallest mice I've tried. So if you're looking for a small mouse, this might be a great option for you and a pretty interesting one. Stick around now for a sound test to hear what the switches sound like. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Thanks for watching. You've made it right to the end of the video, you brilliant legend you. If you've enjoyed it, click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions. If you really enjoyed it, consider joining the channel and see the benefits of doing so. Check out these other videos, you might well find them interesting or useful, and most importantly, have a great life.